Hey, that's what we can do with with that money. You can give me back my webcam and then get a webcam because that's still on loan to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. But that's okay. I don't mind.
You're right.
All right.
Well, is that
they're inexpensive now.
That one was $80.
Yeah.
At the time, yeah. And it was what, 4 years ago we got it?
Yeah, maybe three.
eBay value of $19.99.
Right.
Probably. But we got some good use out of it. All right, so we are
live now.
We should do a show.
I'm looking for the live
No, Tom,
stream.
I agree with that.
All right.
I agree with that. I think we should. And we better hurry before my phone battery runs out. No, just kidding.
Where's the?
I'll be doing all my work off my Android phone.
All right. I'm looking for the links. Why can't I find the links?
Same problem you had last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Mary, if you want to get going, then
all right.
I will find the links while you're talking.
Great.
All right. So.
Well, you say this is episode? You started that little piece, and then I take over.
So because we have the soundboard working this time, I play the sound.
I'm shocked.
All right, let's go.
The Sunday Morning Linux Review with Mary Tomich, Tom Lawrence, and Tony Bemis as the Beaver.
And this is episode 213.
Fresh Looks. It's our Fresh Looks episode, and this Fresh Looks episode will be taking a look at Budgie Remix.
All right.
I know in previous episodes I'd been talking about Linux Mint, but when I sat down, I just realized that it'd probably be more interesting to people not to listen to my my journey to put Linux Mint on my system, but to take a look at something a little more, well, not unusual, but kind of brand new at least, because this was the first time that Budgie Remix appeared on DistroWatch.
All right.
So anyway, that's right. It made the DistroWatch front page of this month with its first release. And yes, it is a derivative of Ubuntu, but it was sufficiently customized, in my humble opinion, that I felt it warranted a look. Now, it's named after the desktop environment it uses. So would I feel like flying the coop after I took a look at it? Or would I be chirping its praises? All right, let's find out. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the vitals. Of course, the name is Budgie Remix. Now, it's the maintainer is actually a group of 7 guys that maintain this distro, and its latest birthday. Well, it was released on October 17th, 2016. So that was about a couple weeks ago. And as I just noted, it's a derivative of Ubuntu. And the kernel it uses is 4.8.0-22. And the review desktop, if you haven't figured it out already, is Budgie. And just a little note about Budgie Desktop. It is part of the Solus project. And so they've gone ahead and kind of taken it and run with it as far as its own distro. So I went ahead and threw the ISO on a DVD just because it's easier. I know I can put it on a USB stick and run that way, but hey, old habits die hard. It booted to the standard menu, the one that you see when you're in Ubuntu, whether it's to try Ubuntu or install. But Budgie Remix does the nice little touch of saying, try Budgie Remix or install Budgie Remix, which is, I always appreciate that when they, even though they're a derivative of Ubuntu, that they go ahead and make those little subtle changes. So, of course, I try before I buy or install. And so Budgie Remix booted to an attractive desktop in the live environment. Now, there was a simple panel across the top of the screen with the standard utilities, notification icons, battery, power, etc. And then there was a Planck dock. Are you familiar with Planck dock? The Planck dock.
No.
Should I say that again? The Planck dock. Anyway, it's a docker that will, at least in the case of Budgie Remix, it's on the left side, and it just essentially holds some of the commonly used icons for the commonly used applications, as well as things that you have open. Think Apple's little dock at the bottom of the screen. It's kind of like that. But anyway, so it. As I said, it had the standard utilities. Let's see, it was affixed to the left side of the screen with the standard user programs you'd expect. There's a music player, photo viewer, mail calendar. Well, wait a minute, not mail calendar, excuse me. That didn't sound right, did it? Mail, comma, calendar.
What kind of pictures are on a calendar, Mary?
I don't know, but it took me a long time to get through this review. Just kidding. But anyway, video player, browser, and an icon for the Budgie welcome screen, which I'll cover shortly. Now, the last desktop feature included was something called Raven, and this is part of the the Budgie project. Now, it's an applet notification and customization bar that slides up from the right side of the screen. Now, this tool displayed the calendar as well as some audio adjustment tools. The screen lock and power buttons were also included in that. So, again, it was really, looked pretty good so far. There was a digital clock widget that appeared in the middle of the top panel, away from the rest of the utility icons, because, you guys think about it. Usually your little clock is over on the right, the right side. Well, this one was in the middle. Now, I'm one of those that, once I get set in my ways, I kind of like things to be where I want to put them. So I was fully expecting I was going to be able to move it. Well, it was not as intuitive as I would have liked. As a matter of fact, I was never able to figure out how to move it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And right-clicking it produced no options for the configuration. And even after I installed Budgie Remix, my clock stayed smack dab in the middle of the top panel. So, again, it's not a big deal at all. It's just one of those little preferences. I like to be able to, and because I tend to come from a KDE environment where everything's configurable, even the configuration is configurable. It was just something I wanted to do, but again, just a preference. Now, on the left side of the top panel, there was a circular icon, and that was my entree to the application menu system. It was logically organized and stocked with the standard tools and programs, and a couple of surprises I'll talk about later. Now, let's take a look at the defaults that Budgie Remix has. Its browser is Firefox, and the Office suite is the venerable LibreOffice, and that includes, of course, Calc, Draw, Impress, Math, and Writer. So Base wasn't included, but that's fairly typical in the Linux distros that I take a look at. The mail client was Geary Mail. Now, that's a GNOME 3 app. Is it Geary or Geary? I'm not a Gnome, so I'm not certain, but you guys probably can figure out what was included. And then the file manager is Files.
How do you spell it?
Geary. So when you take the Y off, I would say gear.
Right.
So I would say Geary Mail.
Maybe.
So my apologies to GNOME fanatics out there.
And I'm sure everybody knows it.
Don't flame us. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, although I did not try it, I'm sure it's a very capable email system. And then the file manager is Files, which, again, some of this comes from the GNOME project because the toolkit was clearly GTK. Happily, my Broadcom chip was recognized. Thanks, Ubuntu. I easily connected to the interwebs. Now, earlier I mentioned the Budgie welcome screen. It automatically appears after I boot it to the live environment. It offered several options for getting to know Budgie Remix, as well as links to helpful, community resources. For example, IRC chat, community forum, etc. Now, at the bottom of the welcome screen, there was some, to the left, there were some icons to link to. There were some icons that were clustered. You could link to Facebook, Google+, Twitter, etc. And then there was the Install Now button, which beckoned me. And of course, I had to follow it. All right. Now, I'm going to talk about the install process, but if you imagine Ubuntu with rebranding, you're going to pretty much figure it out.
All right.
I won't spend much time discussing the Budgie Remix install because all it is a rebranded version of the Ubuntu install. Now, since I had network connectivity, I decided to automatically include the updates as well as third-party software as part of that process. Because if you recall, and I'm sure a lot of the major Linux distros offer those options, I just thought, I'll just get it all done while it's being installed.
Yeah.
I also allowed Budgie Remix to install across the entire disk, but I did check the partitioning tool. It's the same as Ubuntu's version, which I have used on numerous occasions with satisfactory results. So I was ready to roll. Now, after I responded to the time zone and that partition info, there was nothing else to see here. Please move along. I say that only because it went very smoothly. And kudos to the Budgie Remix team for updating the install utility to note Budgie Remix and not Ubuntu. Because that's one of my little nits. I like to see that. Because if you're going to spin out a distro based on Ubuntu, for God's sakes, take the time to make it look like yours. All right. Now let's talk about the installed environment. So after the install concluded, I rebooted to Budgie Remix. The welcome screen appeared, and had changed slightly. The install button, of course, was replaced with 2 buttons, Software Center and Default Settings. The rest of the screen remained the same. A second screen, Update Information, also appeared, telling me that extra data files had failed to download. Now, and actually one of them was the Flash plugin and installer, which was a little puzzling because I had, if you recall, I had requested that third party and also updates be applied during the install. So I wasn't really sure what was up with that, but resolving it seemed pretty easy. I just clicked the Run This Action Now button and supplied the needed credentials. Then the window just sat there. No install progress bar or any other indicator appeared to confirm I completed my task. Now, despite those missing visual cues, I later confirmed that Flash had indeed been installed. And it actually, when I was in the process of installing it or getting ready to do that, it said that the reason it hadn't installed is because I needed an active internet connection, which again is kind of odd because, as I mentioned earlier, when I was running live, I had one. So I'm not really sure what was up with it, but
well, I bet your Wi-Fi connection, like the password you had to put in, didn't carry over from the live version into the installed version.
No, but when you're installing from the live version, so you're still
right.
You still have all the connectivity.
Yeah, and during the install, but then when you booted right into the installed version,
yeah,
so it probably didn't transfer over.
Oh, I
and
see
that's
what you're
likely.
saying.
I mean,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you know what was really interesting, Tony? When I tried to connect, nothing happened. Now, it wasn't until I connected, or I clicked on Connect to Hidden Wi-Fi and supplied my, the SSID and the credentials, it was immediately connected. So I thought that was a little odd. Not a big deal because I knew how to get myself out of it, but just clicking on the icon itself in the typical fashion that you do without having to, go into quote unquote the hidden Wi-Fi network, which actually wasn't hidden because it's set to broadcast.
Oh.
Again, just a little nit, but
Yeah.
it was pretty easily fixed by me.
All right.
Let's see. Next step is to customize the desktop. Now, Budgie Remix conveniently includes the following. They're in the menu system. You've got Plank Preferences, which allows you to customize the location, size, and other visual attributes of the Plank dock. Now, I moved mine to the bottom center and made the background transparent so I could pretend it looked Apple-like.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding on that, but I did actually move it. I just wanted to see if I could move it and if it would hold the settings, and it did. It did perfectly. It looked pretty good on the bottom of the screen. And then I ended up instead of having it disappear, you know how you can set that to kind of hide, automatically hide. I don't like that. I like to have my tools there and available to me. So I changed that also. Don't I sound like a curmudgeon? Anyway, there's also a menu edit feature that allows the customization of the application menu. I took a look at it and was impressed with how nicely it was laid out. It was simple, but I could tell that it was very easy to go ahead and make the adjustments. And not only that, you can hide various menu categories if they didn't apply. So I definitely appreciated that. And then finally, there was something called Settings. Now that contains most of what you need. I was disappointed that there weren't more options for customizing icons and themes. What you have to do with that is you have to go back to the welcome screen, and from there you've got an option to customize it. But I think it would have been helpful to have it in Settings because I'm accustomed to that in KDE, and I think many other desktops, full-figured desktops, have that, have it set up that way. So that was, again, a little disappointed. Let's see here. And those options, let's see. Yeah, they weren't easily available. And I still could not find those clock settings. So my clock was still in the middle of that upper panel. I opened the software update app, and interestingly, there were 72.6 megabytes of updates for me. But until I opened it, I had no idea that, in other words, I didn't see any notification indicating that there were updates. Again, I'm under the impression that these are automatically installed when I do my install. But I
bet it only grabs the Ubuntu updates. And then if these are ones related to Budgie Remix, then it has to install those separate.
That's an excellent point, Tony. It's an excellent point.
Thank you.
All right. Well, anyway, let's kind of move through here. So I did apply it, and But as I said, there was no indication that I had these. It wasn't because as part of my standard review process, I go in and take a look at updates and that type of thing.
Mhm.
But despite that little glitch, I had no problem at all applying the updates. It was very straightforward and completed without issue. Now, the next area I checked were the software repositories. Budgie Remix has a standard Ubuntu repository list, but also has in a sources.list.d directory, its own repositories. There's one set for the Budgie desktop customizations and another set for the themes. So it's all taken care of. And that's probably what happened when, as you just said, those
Yeah.
ones in that separate directory were probably, separate.
Yeah. Or directory, you mean app source.
That's right. So let's see here. So that covers the updating. Now, installing the software. Another thing I like to do, of course, is to kind of install some software to see how that goes. And if you're guessing that it went without a problem, you'd be absolutely right.
All right.
I installed it actually includes a fully stocked software repository. Pretty impressed with it. I easily installed Pingus, but did not play it. Yeah, I was very disciplined. I'm normally an unruly, undisciplined person, but I was disciplined because I wanted to get my review done, so I'd not be that game.
What is Pingus?
It's a game.
Okay.
And I didn't play it, so I have no idea. It was like a little penguin involved, and I think he runs around.
All right.
People who have played it will know exactly what I'm talking about. The rest of us, you'll have to install it and try it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, as far as other interesting programs, there are a couple I saw that I thought was kind of interesting. What was installed, and I've never really seen this, was Zum Add Sub FX. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay. Well, I've used it before because it's a fully featured open source software synthesizer capable of making countless numbers of instruments from some commonly heard or from common heard and then from expensive hardware. The sounds are very interesting. I really like it. So I was very surprised. And they had two versions. They had the Jack version and then the ALSA version. So depending on what your configuration is, you are ready to go with Zum Add Sub FX. So I know it sounds odd, but I've used it and I really like it. So give it a look.
I'm glad it doesn't just support Jack because that can be a pain to configure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
I agree.
exactly. And I've used the ALSA version, and that it works pretty good. And some of the sounds very synth pop, very pretty cool. The other thing that it had too, it had a little option for what's called startup applications. And from there, it's a tool actually that lets you easily identify which programs you want to start when you boot. I kind of like that because it was easy to get to. And what was set up by default was the Budgie plank. So when Budgie boots, the thing starts up. I was tempted to remove it just to see what would happen.
Oh.
But cooler thoughts in my head prevailed.
Right.
And I shoved those little voices into the corner. But anyway, the other thing it had too was something called maps. And I thought, I wonder what this is. And actually what it is just simply an icon to start up OpenStreetMaps. So I opened it up, and sure enough, I was able to zero in on my street and look around a little bit.
Is that an application or is that a web page it goes to?
I would not be the least bit surprised if it's one of those web apps, where you set it up, it's a link, and actually I didn't even take a look to see, and that's my bad, but I should have.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it is a link to the web page because that would make a lot of sense. But anyway, so Budgie Remix is well on the way to becoming a solid Linux distro. As I noted earlier, there are a few items that could benefit from a little extra care in feeding, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. So users who are looking for a nice clean desktop using the GTK Plus or 2 toolkit, I think we'll find Budgie Remix something to keep an eye on. So that, gentlemen, was my fresh looks.
Well, it's a nice looking OS. So they, that's really what's the UIs are really catching up. I always think of my early days when desktops were just so blocky and you could never convince anyone to use it because you're like, yeah, this just looks bad.
Yeah. And I was looking through their website and they have a page on it that says opportunities. And their goal is to become a official Ubuntu distro. So they want to be Ubuntu Budgie.
Okay.
So if anybody out there knows how to help them in that process, then they are looking for somebody to come and help.
Well, we can just keep reviewing them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was overall, I was impressed with it. Again, the few little glitches I noted, but I kept in mind that this was its first official release. So those things kind of, tend to happen. And and I'm sure that the development team will get those ironed out. But overall, I had positive experience with it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So that's it. That's it for Fresh Looks.
Well, thank you very much, Mary.
You're welcome.
So you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This was episode 213.
Fresh Looks, Budgie Remix.
This is Tony Bemis.
Mary Tomich.
And Tom Lawrence.
See you next time.
You've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. If you would like more information about this or other shows, go to smlr.us. Feel free to send comments to show@smlr.us or give us a call 734-258-7009. I'm John Miller. If you don't like it, you can
bite my 8-bit metal ass. That's bite with a Y.
All right.
All right, we got that done. Thanks, guys.
All right. So we're going to go on to 214.
Episode 214. And we did decide on do we have outro music, Tony? Some
We
kind of
don't
Halloween?
actually. I was just looking that up right now.
Why don't you go to Jamendo and just put Halloween?
Yeah, that's pretty relevant.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, I didn't come up with one this time. Is that my job? It probably is, isn't it? Should I take that on?
Well, no, when you just keep doing things, we quit doing things.
Right.
So if you just stop doing it, we'll go do it.
All right. Well, I'll.
How about something with symphonic and flutes?
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I almost would suggest there's a Japanese K-pop song. This is crazy.
Is
It's
it?
really hard to read. I know. There's a
How's
security.
the listening though? That's the key piece.
It's funny.
Yeah, I like it.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, that's it.
All right, we'll use that.
Yeah.
No, it's a Japanese IT security research firm that has the craziest dancing K-pop song, and someone translated. It's so funny. But
Bless you.
thank you. But what it does is it's a girl singing about security patches as a video game, and when someone interpret it, and then the lyrics are horrible.
Oh,
Well,
no.
you know,
They're in
there's
Japanese,
always
so-
something
yeah.
lost in the
Yeah.
translation.
Well, there's something lost. Well, even the person, someone on Reddit translated it, and they got through like the first several verses, and they go, "I can't go on. This is too horrible to listen to."
Well, they probably did. They dump it into Google Translate.
Yeah, no kidding.
Uh,
I wonder if people who know multiple languages are now like disappointed because we're a few years away because they have real-time translation now, and they've got it integrated into some of the things like Skype has it, so you can have the person speaking one language and you hear it in your language natively, and vice versa. It does real time.
wow.
So technology is putting people out of work.
You know, I was talking with a Canadian. I could tell he was speaking Canadian. I was speaking American, and hey, I could tell. Okay, I made that up.
All right.
It's still funny.
Where's that candle?
Hold on.
at?
I'm blowing my nose. It's
Actually,
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
no, this is one.
Oh my God, that's funny. We should incorporate that.
Yeah.
Don't get that near me, Tony.
Oh, that's almost identical to what we used to have.
Yeah. Is it alive? Well, that was, I tell you, in its heyday, that was a fun show fun game show we did,
Yeah.
wasn't it? That was
Yeah.
fun.
Here, you do it. You should be the sound effects girl.
I'm looking for the,
Person.
okay. Oh, I see. That's like a marquee. I get it. So somebody, so when you tell
Yeah.
me, or when I
You want a
talk
little
about
bit
my
of
sad
cheese with
process,
you?
I couldn't get this thing working, and then Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm done sneezing.
All right.
All right, so we're going on to
Episode
214.
214. And what's our
214.
name? Episode name?
Dirty Cows and
Dirty
Yakety
Cows.
Yak.
Yeah, Dirty Cow and
It's in
Yakety Yak.
Yakety Yak.
I think I have Yakety
Dirty
Yak.
Cow and Yakety Yak.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
The Sunday Morning Linux Review with Mary Tomich, Tom Lawrence, and Tony Bemis as the Beaver.
And this is episode 214.
Dirty Cows and Yakety Yaks.
And this is Tony Bemis.
Mary Tomich.
And Tom Lawrence.
All right.
And what have we done the last 2 weeks? It's actually been only 2 weeks since we recorded last, huh?
I know it seems like a year.
No, I was trying to make comment that our recording schedule has been so far off through the whole summer that
Mhm.
I don't know if we've recorded 2 weeks in a row with all of us together.
That's true.
Until just now.
That's
I
true.
told, yeah, I think this was it. And today we were doing 3 episodes.
Right.
So we're cranking them out because we think about you, our loyal listeners.
That's
Or
right.
is it our loyal listener?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's up? What's up?
So Halloween.
Yeah, I know. So your kids have a costume?
Oh, yeah. Yep. We are the Incredibles. Like our whole family's doing the Incredibles.
I wanted to tell you, Tony, I didn't realize that you had such washboard abs.
That's right.
I saw the picture. My
Yeah.
goodness. No
Thanks.
wonder Kim married you. You're a hunk.
Yeah, so what we're referring to is that
It was a cute
there's a
picture.
Disney movie called The Incredibles, and it's a whole family of superheroes, and our family meets up almost exactly with the family on the thing. So there's like, I'm Mr. Incredible. My wife Kim is
Mrs. Incredible.
no, she's Elastigirl,
Oh,
and then my daughter is Violet, and my son is Dash, and our baby is Jack Jack. And so it all like meets perfect in there.
yeah. So the picture, so they took a picture, and who took it of you? Did
It was a friend.
okay.
We did a birthday party for
Okay.
Halloween, all the kids, and
Yeah, it was a great picture.
Yeah.
I just got a big kick out of it.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So in the meantime, since that party, we've worn it like 4 other times because
Uh-huh.
there's all these trunk or treats or some kind of Halloween thing going on right now.
Oh yeah,
think-
yeah.
Our kids have gone trick or treating 6 times in the last 2 weeks.
Do they have any teeth left?
I don't think we're gonna have to buy candy this year. All the candy that they don't want, we throw in a different bucket and we just hand those out instead.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's not regifting; it's recandying.
Right. So
Oh,
we're going.
you're so efficient.
We're going again today,
Mhm.
and
But how long
and
will
then
those
tomorrow's
apples
Halloween.
keep, though? How long will those apples keep? Remember that? Well, I don't know if you guys remember it as a kid. You would never want to get the apples.
Yeah,
Then there
Well,
were all
now
those
it's-
scary stories about
it's,
razor blade, which I think were largely
right.
not. I mean, I think it happened once or twice, but
Yeah, I'm
anyway.
gonna say it's illegal to do that now, or
What,
at least
put
nobody will
razor
take.
blades in apples?
No, no.
Oh, to get fruit out?
Unpackaged foods.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can't, like, nobody will take popcorn that you popped yourself, or
Uh-huh.
cupcakes or cookies or.
Huh. Or
Yeah.
pastrami sandwiches. Hey, kid, have a
Have a
sandwich.
pastrami sandwich.
Is that what you give out, Mary?
No, I turn my lights off and then I go up. I go up to the 3rd floor and then I watch Halloween movies. No, actually,
You're the
Because in
Halloween
Detroit-
curmudgeon.
no, my backyard has got some lights in it, but well, in my neighborhood, it's a a safe neighborhood. And well, speaking of that, Nuri had a Halloween party last night.
Yes.
And were you there?
No.
Okay. And
I imagine it got wild.
not too bad, actually. Not too bad. He alerted me ahead of time. Said and he promised by 2 a.m. everybody would be out. And I thought, oh, good. That's only 3 hours before I get up.
You said Tony had a party.
Yeah. But anyway, so it looked like it was a lot of fun. I could tell, I have lights in the windows and stuff. So, but anyway, but yeah, I the kids come through and I'm not kidding you. They're lined up out to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't have enough candy. So then some years I just say, I'm not doing it. I'm watching movies. And then I turn off all the lights and look like
Well,
I'm not there.
I thought you were going to say you go to the top floor and just yell, "Get off my lawn!"
You should, play the ghost.
Oh, when I, when there's a, it's very funny. There's a magic trick gimmick, or a device where you'll open it up and it's empty. And so I say to the kids, "Oh, I have candy for you." And I say, "Oh my gosh, there's no more candy." And these kids, they look crestfallen. I start laughing. I said, and I close it up and I say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but wait a minute, let me look again." So then I lift it up again, then it's full of candy, and the kids, oh my God, they love it.
That's
So
great.
I've done that one year. Another year, I went and got some dry ice, and then I'd open the door and I'd, kind of laugh maniacally. And I had this mug with, it's one of those big root beer mugs, so solid mugs, and the dry ice, the vapor is just kind of flowing out over the top, and I just crazy stuff. And then then some years I just say, I'm not doing anything this year.
No, being a little bit more dangerous. I had these pumpkins on stands in my yard,
Mhm.
and I had gas lines run to them. And so what I would do is puff the gas real quick from a propane and make a little flame shoot out of the pumpkins randomly. I made sure no one was around, so I'm controlling it when we hand out the candy. But
Yeah.
the kids would be walking on the sidewalk, and I hit the button, and poof, flames would shoot out of the pumpkin, and they'd scream.
Oh my God, that sounds great.
That is good.
Oh my God, Tom, that sounds
I
great.
can't help it. I play with fire a lot.
You should have you recorded any of that?
I should.
You should take a little, if you're going to do it this year, and the next time you do it,
Yeah, we're not
record a snippet.
Since we moved where we
I wanna
live, there's
see
no
that.
kids because I don't live in a neighborhood anymore. I live like in a
It's a
There are no
neighborhood.
kids.
it's a neighborhood, but it's like there's only
Sounds
two
like a
streets,
good neighborhood to
so
me.
There's no
No, just
people
kidding.
coming by.
Oh, okay.
So we go somewhere else for Halloween now because
Oh, okay. Because there are no kids.
there's no one really.
Sounds like a Stephen King. Doesn't it sound like the opening for a Stephen King story?
no
There are
children.
Right.
But that witch down the street, she ate
Yes.
them all. All right. We're way off track.
We are.
Yep.
All right. Immediate right turn back on. So what kind of techie open source stuff did you do?
I'm working on my my GA project again, the Net Health stuff.
Oh, okay.
And Carl Miller is helping out some with that. There's a few
Excellent.
things we're specifically looking at trying to get going right now, and a few of those is we got Git set up so we can collaborate,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not on GitHub. My boss, or my not boss, professor, he wants to have a good working version before we publish it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that called? A
Proof of concept.
Proof of
no,
concept.
viable
Prototype.
Oh, viable.
there's like a specific name to it.
Yeah.
Minimum viable.
Minimum viable product or something.
Yeah. So we want to get that working
Sounds
first.
good to me.
Um,
All right.
there's a few things. I think really what we need to get down to is a little bit of reporting added into it. Get some graphs and stuff working on it,
Okay.
and then we should be good to go with version 1.
Good.
Yeah, but other than that, it's just schoolwork, family, busy stuff.
Okay.
Tom, so what'd you do?
Me. I played with stuff. Anyways, Tony came by and visited my office the other day. So he got to see
Yeah.
one of my mystery problems, which is a hard drive that gives errors when it wants to, but then doesn't have errors when we scan it in my RAID array.
Yeah.
I may just replace the hard drive, but the RAID array works fine. It's in a FreeNAS box. I did learn doing some reading. This has been a fun research into the SMART project. Apparently, not everything is as standardized and SMART as it should be.
Oh.
So some implementations of SMART are different. So when certain tools like FreeNAS read it and they did a weird implementation, it may say that there's an unreadable error that there's not because it's looking in the wrong field. And I ran into this first on
Where is that information stored?
So they pull the
If you-
SMART.
did you-
What they do is they pull the SMART table and then they parse it. And let's say
Okay.
field position 17 is your uncorrectable errors. Well, that's not 100% standard, I guess. So field position 17 means something else. So then they'll parse the text associated with it, but it can get mixed up. And I ran into this with an odd SSD drive that I had when I was doing some testing with that constantly tells me it has read errors that it doesn't have. Because there's no read errors. Windows sees it as fine. Linux runs fine on it, But if you actually went through these smart errors, it keeps telling you that there's these read errors all the time on it. I'm not
Okay.
really, it's kind of a puzzle. And basically, any research I've done says, yeah, it's because it's reading the wrong thing in some of the diagnostic tools. But others are like, if you just dump the raw smart data, there's no problem with the drive. So when I read,
think that's odd that
Yeah.
that they didn't come together to really create a
A
quote
standard.
unquote standard,
right,
because it benefits everybody.
it really does.
I think it's one of those things that people just got lazy and they said, well, smart work, so we're just going to leave it as that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you should have a RAID array, and
Yeah.
smart is limited because reality is most drives don't have a smart error. They just don't turn on one day.
Yeah.
Because smart has no idea as the bearings are going bad in the drive. You power it off, you power it back on, the bearings quit spinning. Smart goes, I didn't see it coming. I don't know,
Mhm.
didn't know you were gonna turn it off. So that's a side project. I finished my Raspberry Pi project, which was fun. The Retro Pi specifically, with all the games, I now have 6 or 7,000 games, I think, somewhere right around there. Now I'm faced with the problem of which game do I play?
Right.
That was a fun learning experience in a way. The different Retro Pi programs interact with different types of controllers through the USB interface, and playing with some of the technical stuff, including overclocking a Raspberry Pi to make sure everything ran at full speed with the emulator. And I was just impressed at how smooth everything went. So that was a fun project.
Well, I have a suggestion then. Since you run into a problem of what game do you play, why don't you just put together a little script that has a random number generator, and you press it, and of course the limits are from 1 to whatever the last game is, and then that's the one you play.
I know, just a random game generator there. Just
Yeah.
pick one. There's so many to choose from now. This is where the power of Bash really comes in, though, because one of the things I had to do. Now we'll say I own all the games that I have ROMs for, but we'll also say there were things in there I didn't want in the ROM packs that I had found. So the people just put fluff in there. Someone thought it would be a fun idea to figure out how to hack a Game Boy Advance into loading movie intros on there. So they'll take a trailer to a film and convert it to a Game Boy Advance file so they can just play it. Now, it's not a game. It's just a ROM proof of concept.
Sure.
And when you're trying to grab ROMs, you grab them in packs, as they call it, and those are in there. Good news is.
So that's one of your games?
Yeah. So we use a bet. Yeah. So I had to remove.
Did you win?
Yeah, I know. So much aggravation. There was also some naughty files in there. Someone thought you could also take clips of other things and insert it in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had to use some bash scripts that I wrote to filter out literally 1,000 different little things. And the good news is they were all titled with triple X's, the ones that I wanted out, and the other ones were all titled movie trailer. And yeah, but it's a nice thing about Bash. You just drop there and find exec, boom, delete, and
yeah.
Or you could have used Yahoo's. What do they have that porn?
Oh yeah, we talked about last time.
Yeah.
I have it analyze all of my Game Boy ROMs.
Yeah, get rid of or at least segregate those so the kids don't get them.
That project, and then we played with high voltage because we had this idea that if you spin a CD and it's got that aluminum oxide coating on it, and it actually will voltage will go across it. So it's a conductor. So we spun it at 5,000 RPMs and we connected a couple conductors to it.
Well, just for perspective, what does a CD typically spin at?
Oh, I don't know. I know what we spun it at but it's only a few
I
hundred.
would say it's 3,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We spun it at 5,400.
So you overspun it.
Yeah.
We spun it really fast.
It.
Yes. Yeah, we hooked it up to a hard drive spindle, spun it fast. I made a video and we connected high voltage to it. I don't know what those do in terms of actual knowledge for us, but boy, they're fun projects to do. So
Right.
Yeah, I could see how that would be fun.
yeah, other than that, I did some more drone flying around Detroit and things like
Did
that. And I produced my TEDx video. TEDx in 10 minutes. You may have seen that as one of the videos that I produced. That was for me being behind the scenes at TEDx, and I condensed it all down. And that was a fun Caden Live project because I call it death by 1,000 cuts. So to edit all the hours of video I shot, I changed it to the beat cadence, which is every 2.4 seconds, I think was the cadence of the beat. So there's another change, and that's when I changed scenes. So I created these blended scene changes. So when you look at the timeline, there's tons and tons of little cuts of all this video.
Yeah.
So it really pushed the limits of Caden Live.
How many times did it crash?
Oddly, this is the part that blew my mind once.
Really?
And it was 3.5 hours to edit all this stuff. Now, how many times did Tom break it? Only once, a couple hours in, and I had to restore from backup because I didn't realize I deleted part of the project and moved all the files over and just kept working. That's because someone in Caden Live thought mapping Z to cut out a section was a great idea, but you also use X and C for the cutting. So if you accidentally aren't looking, you hit the Z, it'll cut the element you're over on this little grab part, but it's not necessarily in your timeline view where you're zoomed into, so you don't realize it cut it. And then by the time you realize you cut it, so now I have unmapped that hotkey because I was upset.
Yeah.
I understand.
And I've done a video on this. I was showing Tony how I when he came to my office that we have that sync thing combined with my video. I actually am doing real-time backups every 60 seconds of all of my data with 5 revisions. That way, these large video files as I'm cutting and splicing are still being backed up in real time, because that way if my computer messes up or when Tom hits Z when he didn't mean to, I can actually just roll back to another revision of the save. So that's what I did.
And you're running, I think, the latest version of Caden Live that had that big update that fixed a lot of.
I use their
crash
PPA because they keep it up to date. I love all the fresh features of it. And there's been another guy who started documenting more of Caden Live, and I'm going to document it because me and him started talking and we started sharing tips back and forth. He produced the videos that I've been talking about producing.
Oh,
and
good.
I've learned there was a feature I didn't know you could do. So Caden Live will do blurred face tracking. So if I blur someone's face or blur an object, it tracks that object as it moves. That way you don't have to move. So if you want to blur a license plate, but the car is moving, as the car moves, it'll keep the license plate blurred. This is what I didn't know. And he showed this as a cool feature, and they don't advertise this. You can lock onto an object, but instead of blur, you turn the blur all the way down to 0. So don't blur it, but it'll still track the object, and you can attach text to it. So let's say I have a moving object and I want to have text information or a picture move with it at the same time.
Nice.
You can do that. And I'm like,
wow.
I had no idea. That's an advanced feature.
I saw a video just the other day that was doing pretty much the same thing. People were walking through and had little like bubbles above their heads, what they're thinking as they're walking along.
Yeah, that's a feature that's really popular in the Adobe software, because like when you want to, even when people are doing tech demos, they may be moving something around, but they want to show you the object. They put tracking on the object with the text, so the text follows it around as it moves to give you some better perspective. It's a great way to help explain things. I had no idea Caden Live could do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you could do like a breakdown of a laptop, and if you spin the laptop to look at a different part, you can have the description spin with this.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
More advanced learning on that. So I'm getting more and more into all of that because my YouTube channel keeps getting more. It's like, I think I reported, it was less than a month ago, 2 months ago, that I had broke 1,000 subscribers. Now I'm pushing 1,600, and it took less than 30 days. But it's taken a lot of work because it's constantly updating my YouTube channel and putting all my content on there. So so I got to keep working hard at it.
Now are ads starting to play?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it's monetized.
I've got it monetized.
Excellent.
It's making me a couple dollars a month, not a lot. Mostly I do it for fun, but I'm enjoying it. I love the interaction with people too. I post the videos, they interact, they encourage me to make more videos. So
cool.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you get, because for a while, I actually for 10 years, I edited a quarterly magazine for magicians and stuff, storytelling magicians. And when you talk to people and they tell you how much they enjoy it, it really does energize you. So.
Yeah. And we have the same thing. The listeners that listen to our show here, we love the feedback we get from you guys. And it really encourages us, especially, I mean, I talked to Tony, I'm kind of shocked when we've seen how our statistics are like now. We're really getting a lot of downloads. So
yeah, it's really starting to come back up.
We thank bots. No, just kidding. Well, wow, Tom, that's pretty darn good.
All kinds of good stuff.
All right. So what did I do?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I did? When I was at the Ohio Linux Fest, I stopped by the FreeBSD table and mentioned that I was interested in participating in some fashion with that project. And so from a documentation perspective, because I'm not a developer, that's painfully obvious. But anyway, so I just they gave me Drew Levine, who is very involved with the documentation, gave me a business card. So I just reached out. So I'm going to hopefully get involved with that in some capacity. So got that going.
Awesome.
I finally got around to watching Mr. Robot season 2. So I'm halfway through that. That thing, oh my gosh. The episode I'm on right now, I had to stop it. There was that heavy duty episode where people got killed.
Yeah.
And then the next episode starts off with the sitcom, the crazy sitcom.
That's so weird.
Oh my God.
Weird.
So I stopped that. I just thought, okay, well, it was kind of weird. And then it got kind of funny because, Elliot he's just like,
It has a laugh track too.
It does. It does have a laugh track. Of course, he's there because he's getting the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
But anyway, which sometimes it intrudes on it and then it retreats. But so anyway, that I did that. What else did I do? There's something else I did too. I don't remember what it was.
Something really side note about Mr. Robot season 2. They had talked to the people, the writers, and they flat out said, Elliot's not the star of the show. They said that if you notice that they wanted lead female hackers in there, and they really have it. Think about the people who are really driving the story, and you have 2 different females, really, well, 3 if you count the FBI agent, 3 of them really driving the story now, and Elliot playing that. And they said that's because, and they were like, when are we going to see more Elliot? And he's like, Elliot's not the star of the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, what?
Yeah.
But as a perspective change,
he's kind of a flawed star, just because of the psychological
he's
issues.
important to the plot line,
Yeah.
but he's not the only plot line. So
Right.
yeah, it makes it really cool.
Yep. All right. So so I did that, and then I think that was pretty much it. There was some other stuff I can't remember.
All right.
CRS, Sierra syndrome.
I've been getting that more and more. All right. So I guess we're going on to listeners.
We want to hear from you. Call 734-258-7009 or email show@smlr.us with your feedback and questions.
All right. So what have we seen in the last 2 weeks?
I don't know. I was pulling
I
it
don't
up.
know if we've got one email, but we got quite a few Google Plus stuff. So we got an email yesterday. Did you guys get to read that? Or not an email, but it was from a comment from.
I was wrapping up
website.
my review, so I missed it.
All right. So it's Sean.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Right. Sean did. I think it's a contact form he did, but
Was it a lot of Japanese characters?
no. Actually, I do remember seeing that one, and I deleted that. That's spam.
Okay. I tried to read it. I thought, we've got listeners in Japan.
Right.
Hey, I should dump that text into Google Translate and see what we get.
Oh yeah.
We did that once, didn't we? We had, and it was just some crazy gibberish. And I'm thinking, why are they doing that? Are they just spewing it out there to test something?
I think so. Anyway, so Sean says that he's looking away to be able to get most of the functionality of like file sharing, file or contact syncing, and what was the third one? Something else. Messaging, like or notes, like OneNote, to be able to do that all open source and have it sync between multiple devices.
Yes, and that's where I'm actually pulling it up now because it's called Collabra, and it's in beta. It is Collabra.com. I think that's the right one.
All right. Yeah, I think he mentioned that also. To have mobile document editing on their own servers, and so he can, and then he's thinking to be able to create his own open source version of it for hosting. And
there's another company making a competing product. I'm trying to remember what it is right now, that you can download and run on your own server that also gives you some of that functionality. And that's what I was trying to find. It started with Collabra, and someone forked the concept, and we had actually brought it up. So I have to go over to our old show notes. We brought it up several months ago because it's going to be open source, but it is in beta, and they didn't give all the code away yet. They said because it was kind of an unfinished product, but the people wanted to know that they're out there and they're working on this as a project.
Cool.
So yes, people are definitely working on it. I think there's some plugins for Nextcloud, and I would love it too. I don't mind hosting all of that for some of that, but it looks like Nextcloud has some of the features. Let me run a feature list on Nextcloud real quick.
I know that they do have calendar syncing and note syncing and file syncing and email and all that you can do through.
Yes, because it does right here. It supports CalDev. It integrates Collabra Office Online, so you can do a lot of this with Nextcloud. But one of the things I found is it comes down for me, for example, for phone support is really tough because I
Mhm.
really need with my teams that I throw in right away that there's a job on a certain day and we throw it into the calendar. That's how we do our booking and scheduling with
Mhm.
each one of my team members has their own calendar, and I put the information, I put the address in, I put the notes in like, hey, needs wiring drop on this address, this building with the map. So, and for them, it's such easy because their phone pops up and they press a button and it maps them directly to where they need to be. They have the person's phone number, who to ask for when they get on site.
Nice.
It works so smooth with the phones. And that's the problem I've hung up with on some of these is their answer to the phone is, oh, just open up a web interface.
Mhm.
Well, I won't lie, I've kind of sold out a little bit to the Google ecosystem, but I have a business to run and it works
I
really
think
well.
we
for
all
it. But
have to some
I'm
degree.
excited because these are coming along very quickly. And I think when we start seeing things another year, like a really strong Ubuntu phone presence, they're really pushing hard on it. And with this recent dirty cow affecting all Android phones. And it's scary because there's not going to be a patch. So now we're seeing some major disruptions in the ecosystem for security on these devices. That's a real world global concern, not like some esoteric, oh yeah, if you sideload this, you'll have this problem. So I'm hoping it pushes forward some of these other phones, which brings back to the integration to this. So take a look at Nextcloud, and maybe I'll do some more research on this because I'm kind of curious. I kind of lay by the wayside because it becomes so much trouble. Like when I looked at the config file of what they had documented for setting it up when it was in beta to do all the integration, so much hand coding, and I'm like, just to test it. So if they have set up a virtual machine, I could just download it.
There you go.
But yeah, it's out there. Yeah, I wish it was better. I agree with his email completely. So
Yeah.
it's not, and don't feel bad. It's not a negative because people are working on it. So other people agree with them that are better coders than me.
Right.
In the meantime, I have a business to run, so I can pay for all the things I do, so I can keep working on open source, and I'll keep sold out to the Google ecosystem until I'm not.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you sound like a nice boss, Tom. Do your employees like you?
I think so.
Okay.
I signed their checks, so they kind of have to.
That's an important factor. So, all right. Well,
They seem happy.
yeah, good.
I haven't eavesdropped on them or anything. I don't go there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're all adults.
Well,
Most of
I'm
them.
not.
Oh, well, you're an
Yeah.
adult when you need to be.
Yes,
But
legally they are all adults. We
It's
will definitely
important
go
not
there.
not to lose that playful mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other listener feedback? That's the one I seen.
I saw Joe Heck. He was just saying thank you for mentioning him and the mugs and stuff from last
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
from a while out.
I
He
love
said,
my
I
mug.
got SMLR, I think is what his title was.
Yeah.
Yes, I love my mug.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mhm.
I like it too.
I'm always
Um,
sad when I put it in the dishwasher because it's like, oh, I won't have it for a couple days because then I don't fill up the dishwasher right away. I suppose I
Yeah.
could manually wash it.
Manual.
So,
Yeah. So I think that's all I thought. You guys have anything else?
I guess
Go
guess
on
that
to
means
the
we're-
Google Plus ones, or
Yeah, or that was from Google.
oh, that
Plus,
was from
sorry.
okay.
So did you guys see anything else?
No.
no.
All right. So going.
Distro Fever, where we cover the latest hot distro releases and news.
Yes, hot distro. Did you see that the old venerable Knoppix release?
Oh,
What?
they did. I missed.
Oh yeah, they
a
did.
couple days ago.
You're right.
Couple days ago.
771.
I tell you, I remember when that was just like cutting edge. I mean, you could run it live. You know,
They set
I
the
know.
bar for that.
They did.
That was
they
an
did.
exciting
Yeah.
time.
So they're still hanging in there. And so I'm glad to see that. And
Oh, they have LXDE Plasma or KDE Plasma and GNOME Shell
Mhm.
as options for desktop.
yeah, 322, 3.22. So very
Oh.
nice.
They said they have a special edition Adrian.
Yes, you know what that is. It's this breathless lady that talks to you when you're trying to do stuff, and
Oh,
and it's if you are you have some kind of impairment where it's maybe you have vision problems or something like that, it can be very helpful. Otherwise, it's just this lady talking to you,
yeah.
as I recall.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the audio desktop, so it's Adrian.
Hmm.
So but you do have the ability to turn that off. So,
That's
uh,
cool.
yeah, so
I'm
there's
looking
that.
through the list. There's a boatload of
Yeah, and did you see that
releases the last 2
Quirky?
weeks.
Yeah, Quirky 8.1. Did you see that this particular release is available for the Raspberry Pi 2 and 3, but not the x86
Oh wow.
or 64? Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, lightweight based on Puppy
Mhm.
for Raspberry Pi. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so they've kind of gone in that direction.
Yeah, NetBeastie had a release.
Net Beastie.
BSD, sorry.
That beastie.
Beastie is with FreeBSD.
Right.
Yep, it was that's right. They got their
You know,
toasters going.
The Sabian Linux, which is based on Gen 2, they have a
Yes.
new release. They've always been a really nice looking interface on there. They were always ahead. I haven't tried it in a while, but they always had a really cool interface on there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I reviewed that a few years ago. Yeah, I recall liking it. It was so long ago. Maybe.
Yeah, well, it's a KDE base.
Mhm.
So
All right, that's not why I liked it
Oh.
either.
Do you remember Netrunner?
Yeah.
You know, it's KDE based.
Yes.
They're actually, are they still sponsoring Kubuntu or sponsoring the
Blue
development for
Systems.
Kubuntu?
Well, I know Blue Systems was for a while.
Okay. Well, they
Um,
renamed it to Maui Linux.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah. So the version 2 just released.
Well, and not only
Maui
that, but
Linux.
they're using the KDE Neon, which
Oh.
is
It's the cutting edge
that's
version,
kind of the
isn't it?
rolling. Yeah, that's sort of the nightly updates. That kind of cutting edge,
Yeah.
bleeding edge.
well, and something that matters to me is the live of Gparted has been up to date.
Mhm.
We have found some new problems with Windows. You know, my day job is fixing Windows all day, but of course we do use Linux tools a lot. But we find that sometimes Windows, when it won't load, is because if it corrupts a partition, it becomes so determined to read the partition that it won't load. So we just load Gparted and delete the partition, and then it works.
Oh.
So that's been a weird fix for.
Wait
some
a minute, you
computers.
delete. Well, this partition is what, an empty partition,
well, so-
or does it have stuff in it?
So Windows 10 and we'll
I'm
not
sorry,
pick-
we just deleted your documents.
Yeah, sorry. Well, the most scary thing it used to say is after it updates, your documents are right where you left them. Why wouldn't they be Windows 10? That's
Yeah.
like a scary message to me. Like I don't turn my computer on.
Like there's an
expect those
option
things.
where they might not be there.
Yeah, that implies there's another option.
Uh-huh.
No, because Windows
Is
10.
it Cortana that says that to you?
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be funny?
I think it's just they screwed up so many times in the past that they're like, ooh, now we finally got it right.
We finally got it right. Well, but they didn't. Windows 10 on a battery. This is actually what breaks a lot of them.
Mhm.
Windows 10 will decide it's time to load updates even while on battery.
Mm.
That also means that users trip up all the
Oh,
time
yeah.
because they are well, I don't have enough battery left to complete this update, and it decided right now in the middle of my coffee at lunch is when it wants to load the update. So then it borks the install, and sometimes it does it to the point of, yeah, it doesn't want to boot anymore. So we have to delete the partition. We hopefully can get their files recovered, which we frequently do, because even though
Mhm.
Windows won't read a partition, we use Linux all the time. We'll read it so we can pull their files off and just reload Windows, because it's too much
Yeah.
work to fix Windows 10. It's just labor intensive. It's not worth
Yeah.
fixing ever.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
become faster to reload it. And it's one of those things. Can we fix it? Sure. Because some people are like, oh, you can fix it. I'm like, if the person has unlimited budget, I don't have unlimited time unless someone has unlimited budget.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that geeky stuff, did you see Clonezilla? They've got
Yep.
they got a release of Clonezilla they put out last week.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
another strong
Another strong
Linux
one. We
tool.
use Clonezilla. We use that. They're great for saving Windows boxes.
Mhm.
That's and that's what Knoppix really came out from too. First, it was just
Yeah.
a live way to run Linux. Then it realized everyone goes, "Hey, cool! I can fix all these Windows problems without having to boot into Windows."
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh
Thank
yeah,
you, Knoppix.
Yep.
So there's a lot of history there.
Yep,
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that. I remember that. So
That's what I got.
All
Yeah,
right.
same
Yeah, that's
here.
all I had too.
hey, but you know what, you guys, I remembered the other thing that. Remember when I said I couldn't remember this other thing? You know what it was? And this is not distro. Well, actually, it's Windows. But I had posted a picture when I was at Boston Logan Airport of this. It's a little food vendor, and they had 3 screens for their menu, but the middle screen was a blue screen of death.
Oh,
I
no.
sent that to the register, and it appeared on their BSOD
Haha.
Oh, yeah.
list
That's great.
October 10th. So
they
yeah,
have
it's on
this
their
with it?
website.
That's perfect.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, yeah, I forgot to mention that. It was
That's
kind of
great.
fun to see. So
That's cool.
So yeah, if you come across a BSOD, send it to those guys. They'll put it out there. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think they do it every week.
there's one on a gas station pump that made me laugh too.
Oh wow.
Oh, I was going down Woodward Avenue. This was a couple years ago, and there was this church has this big display sign, and I saw this big my folder.
Oh yeah, yes, I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, but the desktop, of course, was much larger than the sign. So you saw this
is my
big
computer,
folder,
and
and you
yeah.
just thought, or my computer, whatever it
Yeah,
was,
it
yeah.
was.
And I just started laughing because I thought, oh, somebody's sign app crashed.
Oh,
That happened at
jeez.
one of the major sporting events. If you look it up, you can find it where
Yeah.
it crashed on it. So
Big old
that's
folder.
funny.
Yeah.